Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gents. I hope everyone is well. It is Wednesday, the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. Market is open in about 2 minutes. So, Kanan, how you doing? Arminas, how are you? Okay, let's have a look. What happened yesterday? Okay, so we had sort of two legs down yesterday. Let's have a quick gander at what we're doing. We're still sort of... we spent a few days going sideways, then we had this couple of pushes down, so we got a leg and a leg, so we got a leg and a leg. Let me just have a look at this. So, I will just say, we're getting close to measured move, then I will just say the discount's now changed. Jay, how you doing, bud? Exponential, how you doing, mate? So, as you can see on the screen down here, the Apex discount's changed. It's 71% off all evaluations, and you only need 1 day minimum now to pass. So, if you've done a day and you happen to hit your target, or 3 days and you've hit your target, you can go live. So, if you look at this one, I've probably got another 3 days on this. So, how you doing, Speedy? I've got about 3 more days on this, but obviously I've just done 1 micro, but because it's above 3,000, 53,000, that will pass tomorrow, so I should get an email early hours of the morning, and then I'll have that one going as a PA. So it is useful at times. I wasn't massively keen on it initially, because people who do struggle a little bit may sort of have that desire to sort of take risks. So can you explain how the 1 day pass? Well, normally when you do an evaluation, you've got to trade for 7 days. It only needs to be 1 now. So if you hit your 3,000 target in 1 day, it will go live tomorrow. So you only need 1 minimum days. It used to be 7 days, and the current offer at the moment is 1 day. So whether you do it 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, all you need to do is a minimum of 1 day. So if you pass it today, you will be on a PA account tomorrow. So what if it takes 2? That's fine. Yeah. Usually it had to be a minimum of 7 days, but now they're saying at the moment a minimum of 1 day. So whether it takes you 1 day or 30 days, as soon as you hit your target, you'll go onto a PA account. So, as I say, I've done 4 days, so no need to be risky. Good. Yeah. The trouble is, I think when you have this 1 day pass, a lot of people do take risks, because if you hit your 3,000 target in a day, you'll get a PA account tomorrow. So people who can tactically do it, so, you know, if you've got a great strategy and you think you can get 6.25 points or 6 points out of the market, you picked up 10. Oh, did you really? Good on you, mate. Yeah, it's probably worth doing the 80%. It doesn't sound like a lot, 9%, but it is. So, yeah, it's worth doing. But, you know, if you happen to pass it earlier than 7 days, happy days, you know, you get the chance to go onto a PA account. So anyway, at the moment, I'm not sure what's going on. So we've had this little channel, we've had a break, 2 pushes up to a new high, we've had a couple of legs back. I'm always careful about going long here, because there is a possibility we're just forming some range tops here. And it may come back down. So it's just sitting and waiting, really. We've got no news today, so that's good. The daily, so we still fitted nicely in that trend. We came right below, pushed up. So there is a possibility we could get a push up today. It's hard to say. But I wouldn't be thinking about going long there. That's going to get stopped out there. So if you took that failure, you're going to get stopped out there. That's the problem with going long. You know, you might think, yeah, we're going up. There's a first entry. There's a failure. We're going to trap some shorts. No, you're going to get trapped. Because to me, this looks like it's forming a range top. So there is 2 legs back. So there is a possibility it could go higher. So it's just one of those things. But when there's uncertainty, best thing to do is just to sit tight, stay out of it. I wouldn't be thinking about going short till we can safely break this area here. Because it may come down here and bounce. You may get a second entry long and it might rock it up. It's hard to say. But the way we've hit this and we've hit it twice more and we've pulled back in tells me proceed with caution. Going up or going down, either way. So there is a failure there. I'm just, at the moment, I'm a little bit careful. I would guess that would probably come down, but I'm staying out of it at the moment because just there's 3 bars finishing there. So, and it's above, price is above there. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. My slight concern is we have something like that. There may be something like that. In which case it could tick you a few and then turn. It's hard to say. So whether I got 2 schools of thought here, there is a possibility there's an uptrend, maybe a spike in channel, but there's equally just as possible we're topping out on the range. But we'll see here really. If we can push up from here, we'll see. You took that for 6 points. If that was a bit below the EMA, I may have took that myself, with the chance of it, the thoughts of it coming down there. But the reason I left it is my concern is I could see there may be something working up. I'm still not taking this because I've seen this before. You think, oh yeah, look, we're running off here. It'll trigger you and then come down to here or lower. So it's just you're best off stay out of this. It may work, but we've got a leg and a leg. And it may work, but I just proceed with caution. I've seen this before. You get it working on here, and you think, yeah, great, beautiful, second entry, let's go along there, and it triggers you, stops you out. So just be careful when you're getting like 3 tops here, because we could be forming a range. So let's see if that holds or not. I wouldn't like to be in that trade at the moment. Not the way it's just triggered you and come straight down. I'll be amazed if that doesn't get stopped out. There you go. So it just goes to show, if you're not sure, stay out, because I can see 3 tops here, so I'm thinking possible range. Yeah, we seem to having a touch there, a touch there, and touch there, so you'd be thinking possible uptrend. So I can see you thinking leg down, we've got a double bottom, yeah, let's go along there. Done it many times before, you go long, triggers you, stops you straight out. So unless you're really sure that you know what's going on, just stay out of it. You only really need a trade a day. If you can get 1 trade a day, 1 good quality trade a day, you'll make all the money you want. So, don't be keen to jump in. But for me, I think this is more likely a range top. In fact, a short there might not have been a bad idea, actually, because it's a failure. Forget this, like we've more or less come back up. So, well, actually, technically it's not. There's the failure. But it is a second entry short. But you'd expect, I think, to come down and to trap the longs, and then I think there's a good chance you're going to get near to these lows. I wasn't paying too much attention to that to a degree. I was more waiting for that to get stopped out, if it makes sense. So there was a bit there. Okay, so there's a leg and a leg. So I got 2 schools of thought there. There is a possibility. We've got a bigger channel. There is a possibility. Sorry. We've already had a channel and we've broken out of it. I think sometimes the safer bet is to say we've had a break. Sorry, a channel with a break and a new low. It looks like 2 legs. So do we go long off here or do we not? Because it could come lower. I think if we can get a decent signal bar. I tend to not do this now. I'm not very good at picking tops and bottoms, because I tell you something, you'll pick that, it'll work. You'll pick that, it'll work. As soon as I jump in, it doesn't. I tend to avoid them. So I tend to wait for maybe a higher low. which'll up the chance of us up the chance of it working. Let's see if I'm looking at the not only that, if I'm looking at the NQ, we seem to be finishing here. That could come down a bit lower. So I'd expect this quite lightly, possibly, I say quite lightly, maybe to come a bit lower. So it's another reason for me to not look at longs just yet. So there was definitely some stops there. We got the leg up, a couple of... It does look like we're bottoming. It looks like we're almost prepping some ground rules for an invasion to the upside. So I'm not surprised we had a bit of a drop there of a couple of points, because there'll been some stops along there. Push up, one attempt to go lower, second attempt to go lower. Nice big bullish bar, strongly went. I think there'll be a lot of traders thinking that's going up for another leg. So I would comfortably say now, just for the moment anyway, this is lightly a range. It's the best I got at the moment. So let's just plonk that there. See, Bitcoin's pushing nice at the moment. It's what, just under $52,000. It's really starting to take off now. Yeah, $51,600. That's really moving nice. So it's gone up 20% in the last week. So that's certainly well on its way. So yeah, a range is about as good as we've got at the moment. So we've had a leg and a leg. So I would be careful going short here personally. This, it's hard to say at the moment. We've broken below this on the daily and we've pulled back again and we've gone sideways and we've pushed up to the top with a bit of a pullback. So I'm thinking we could start to move up. It's only a thought at the moment. So I would personally not feel comfortable about going short just yet. Philip, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? So, I mean, that might be an absolute pipe dream, but sometimes when I see these things, it makes me just, you know, when you get those little alarm bells going, just be careful going short here. We'll see. It would have to be something really nice to get me interested. We'll leave work in 15 minutes. Let's go trading. Excellent. I still enjoy trading, I do. I enjoy the challenge of it. The stress, I got to say, my confidence in me trading is starting to grow and my stress is starting to decrease. So I'm kind of enjoying trading now more than I ever have. So I think that's generally how it goes. Midline. Yeah. I mean, it could come down. It could do a lot of things at the moment, but I'm just a bit curious about going short here if we get an offer. I mean, it's above it at the moment anyway, so we may not. But just looking at the daily, is just making me think. Well, you can see what happens. We get to the tops, we pull back. We get to the stop, we had a bit of sideways. We get to the top, we pull right back and below that and sat right on top of it. Then we've gone sideways. So it's hard to say. I mean, we could come back, push up and have a break. Could do a lot of things. It's all right looking at this daily, but realistically, it gives you an idea. The trouble is, if we get a bit of a pullback here, that could mean 20 points in this, which is you know what I mean, a complete change in the day. But if you see, we did the same there. We came back and then pushed up. Now, we went right to the top, but we actually did pull back a bit. But same again, you know, we came here, then we pushed up. We had that another big red bar that we pushed up. Now we got this big red bar. So I think there's a good chance we're going to get up, at least maybe to the tops of this before we have a pullback, which tells me that this may go up some more. So, I mean, you've obviously got to trade on what you see. But, you know, it helps if you've got an idea where you think the market's going, because, like I say, if I think the market's going up and there is a second entry short here, I would probably hold back. And I've done that before and it saved me. So, you know, experience of where you think the market's going to go is still a good idea. Indy, how you doing, buddy? But you can't, you know, you can't just say, oh, I think the market's going up here, let's buy here. All it does for me is if I think something's happening, it just tells me to proceed with caution. It doesn't necessarily say that's definitely what we're going. So I think sometimes if you get a gut feeling, an instinct, I think in this business is really good. And I think you build a lot of that up, you know, as you continue to sort of trade and progress. But I think the more instinct you have, it keeps you out of bad trades. That's tend to what I sort of get it. It's a gut feeling that something doesn't feel right. I took that fail breakout because on the chart it was nice bounce off the EMA. Fail breakout. Oh, you on about the breakout from here? Yeah. Trouble is when we came there, you just don't know really. I mean, I put that there because that's an area of interest. I tend to, you won't see me doing many failed breakouts. I don't generally take them a lot. That's it, unless they're in with part of a trade. I mean, we all have our sort of strong points, don't we? Where we sort of like to trade, the types of trade we like. A lot of times now, I don't even wait for a second entry. I won't take a second entry, something like that. See, you've got a failure there, which is triggered. But a lot of times now, I wait for higher lows because I feel like if you get a higher low, the chance of you winning that trade jumps up dramatically. Because, I remember thinking about a couple of years ago, this market, a lot of times you get a break and you get a higher low straight away. You'd move up, make a new extreme straight away. But sometimes you'll have a break, you'll trigger some longs, you'll have another leg down, you'll go a bit sideways and then work up. But, it doesn't seem to be as break extreme as it used to be. So, as Max said in the past, the market's sort of forever sort of changing and developing. But obviously, as you trade it every day, you change and develop it. Change and develop with it. I think failed breakout and triple test are even more difficult. Yeah. Certain triple tests, if they're really obvious, I'll have a go at them. But usually failed breakouts I don't tend to take unless we get a break and then we get a higher low and I think it's moving in that direction. I tend to take them. But yeah, failed second entries, I don't mind. I will take them. But your higher lows, I think, are another strong setup. I think higher lows, actually, personally, I think higher lows are more reliable than just second entries because it's almost confirmation, isn't it? The trouble is, if you have a second entry, you don't know at that time when the market's going to break. What I tend to do, I tend to stay away from second entries if it doesn't come to the top of the train. So if that only came up to about here, I would tend to avoid them there because, you know, as long as we're sort of continuing to hit the tops of the channels as well, for me, the momentum's still strong. It's when we don't quite make it as high and come back, and then we don't quite make it high, you know, even less. That's when I tend to sort of stay out of it. But you get a feel for it, don't you? You know, I find now there's just something about the look of it that I don't like. And I think it leads back to that theory I have, you know, that when you're glued to something and you take a second entry and you lose your money, that image burns itself into your brain. And when you get that sort of look later on down the line, there's something in the back of your head goes, I don't like this. I don't know why, but I don't like it. And that to me is just down to losing. So we got a channel. Depends how you play this, but so that may be a channel, maybe breaking a new high. But I've gone from here and such that one as well. So it could be slightly wider like that, kind of would work. Now we've come off the bottom here. We've come up to this level, which may be high enough. There's quite a bit of support around there. You can see it there. You can see it there, there and there. So it's hard to say. So if that finishes bullish, you could say that is a hidden second entry long. In this instance, I would probably tend, unless it looked as good on the NQ, if it looked as good, I would probably take it at the moment. I'm just sitting tight. See, on the NQ, we've had a bit of a break, made a new high. It could come down to the bottom here, which it looks like it is. So I would not want to go long just yet. If it bounces off the bottom of the NQ and it's looking bullish, I may jump in at that with a limit order. But for me, it's a bit risky, that is. Let's see if it holds. We're at the bottom of the range on the NQ. Yeah, okay. See, that's the one thing about experience. Something just doesn't feel right. It's a bit congested, and a quick glance at the NQ, so you stay out of a trade there, you've saved yourself a loss straight away. If I took there and lost that now, I'd have to take another trade just to get back to break even. Well, in fact, I'd have to take two to get back to break even. So just these little feelings. If I get a feeling like that, something doesn't feel right, I'll have a glance on the NQ, and the NQ told me we were coming down a bit further, so I stayed out of it. So there could be a leg and a leg. There's still possible second entry long, but at the moment I'm just staying out of it, because also there is an area around there of interest. We've turned away from it here, we've bounced off it here, we're sat on it here, we're using it as resistance here. So, you know, do you really want to go long into there? It's just one of those things, isn't it? So you do get a gut feeling for it based on experience and seeing, you know, getting stuck and getting trapped. There is some GP news about 10. It never seems to make a difference, mate. We're a tiny puddle in a big old ocean compared to US news. You know, I've been trading the ES now for a little over 2.5 years, and I've never known any UK news. I mean, unless it was some sort of national disaster. I've never known any UK news have a bearing at all on the ES. I tend to not even really bother with medium impact news. It's only high impact news really that tends to have to want to keep you out of it really. So Yeah, I mean, if there was a higher low there, better option, but that just as easy fits in there. So it is a bit congested, but it could easily work. There is a possibility we come off the bottoms. There is a chance we could get up to here. There still is. That's why I like having the NQ. The NQ at the time of that trade was starting to push down here. So that told me there's a good chance that's going to come down to there. So the last thing I want to be doing is going long. So that kept me out of a trade. So same again, win-win. Throw 10 contracts around. You can pass. You can. Trouble is though, what you can do even easier is fail them as well. You've got 6 points basically to play with. In fact, you've got less 6 points, haven't you? You've got less than 6 points. What have you got? 2,500 drawdown, haven't you? You'll soon blow that. What is that? 5 points. Market goes against you. 5 points, you're screwed. And 5 points saying a lot. It's only got to go against you that much, and you've lost your account. And I know because I've used 10 contracts so many times. But I think I'm honest in saying I've actually gambled a lot of them by taking stupid risks. In fact, if the market's going down, often I just sold. I didn't necessarily think that there was a setup. I've done all sorts of stuff. I've traded after about a third of a bottle of single malt and lost 10 evals in a row when they were 90% off, just out of pure frustration. I've done lots of stuff. I kind of think I'm in a better place at the moment where my stress level's trading it. PA's only a couple of micros. Yeah. I try a couple of, I mean, the way I see it, I mean, this is from a personal thing. If I was thinking about trading 2 micros, so if I was trading 2 micros and I got 2 points, I'd make $10. Now I've got to try and it. If I can average one of those a day, that's like $200 a month. It's going to take me a year just to get that account up. So for me, I think trading 1 or even 2 contracts can get your account up in a matter of 2 to 3 weeks. Now, trading 2 contracts, you've still got to lose about 8 trades in a row. Now, I wouldn't trade my own $2,500 money like that. Absolutely not. But in this PA account, all I've really got invested in is $175, not $2,500. So, you know, trading max price action, high probability trades, there's no way really you should ever be losing 7 trades in a row, ever. Apart from when you're brand new and when you're learning, you can shut your eyes and click the buy and sell button and you're not going to lose 7 in a row. So me personally, I think 1 or 2 contracts, obviously you've got to have a skill to do it, but I think 1 or 2 contracts personally, I think is better for me. The issue I've had is accepting a loss, not the trading. I can make money. It's keeping it. It's always been a problem for me. So there is a hidden second entry short there, which is triggered. So I'm keeping an eye on that. And I'm also looking at the NQ. I'm going to bring this NQ in a minute because that's going to make a difference on what I do here. We've had this so bit of sideways there. We've had a failed breakout. We've come down again. So we pushing up. We're going to bounce on here and go long. But we've had this channel down here and a break, so we're going to come further down and make a second leg. Because we've had a breakout in, we've only gone this far in before we've pulled back out again. Going long for me is just a bit risky. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but we've gone a bit sideways. We've had a failed breakout. We've pulled in. We've only really come up just above the midline before we dropped out again. So for me, it's losing a bit of upward momentum. So I would say personally, I would be just careful about going long here for me. I'm not saying it's not going to, but at the moment it could really go up or low. I think personally it's got more chance of coming down, but there you go. I add micros, I get to, yeah, that's what I mean. if you trade a completely different strategy, I trade a fixed amount and tend to go for the same amount. A lot of different traders might go for, risk 1 to make 2. They might do a bunch of stuff. So we've got this channel up here with a break. We could go up, but equally, there's something I don't like about this picture. I mean, it could come down and take that. I mean, you may take that. You may think, we've had a break. Higher low, maybe. Yeah, there you go. See, so I bet some people would have taken that, thinking, okay, we've had a break. Now we're going higher. This is giving me mixed feelings here. It could go up, could come down. It's a bit congested, so I'm just sitting tight here. Yeah, it is difficult to do, but I think at some point you just get fed up with losing. I mean, it's human nature to try and cut corners, isn't it? And in life in general, cutting corners works a lot of the time, but with trading, it really doesn't. You can't sustain it. It'll happen once or twice, but you can't sustain it. But the trouble is, that's one of the downsides of trading prop firms. You're not risking a lot of money, so it's very easy just to jump in. If you take a $17 evaluation at 90% off, you're risking $17. You'd have a punt on a football match at $17 and you won't bat an eyelid. There's no risk, and that's the problem. That's why it's so easy just to think, I'll move me stop, see if I get lucky, move me stop. And sometimes you will. But I think at some point you're going to get to the stage where you're just fed up of losing, and you know what I mean? I'm tempted to go long here. My slight concern is we've got a leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. It may come down pretty quick. So I'm just sitting tight at the minute. I can't think of an account that I've had after 2 years in that I would have lost without tilt. Yeah. Once you get a certain amount, I can say that. I can't remember losing an account without going on tilt. It's always been on tilt. I've so it would be nice to try and not go on tilt, and just see if you can make it, without going on tilt. So that would have worked for a couple of points. Trouble is, it's a big ass risk, and there's a bit of resistance along here, so I just wasn't sure. And when that pushed up, we could have had a leg down, 2 pushes up, and come back to the EMA. So I just wanted to stay out of that. So if you'd have took it a tick above it, you'd have got 2 points out of that. Made profit every single day trading on Sim. The only problem is some days I was trading 2 million. I've done that myself. Not 2 million, but I've traded a couple of 100 contracts. In fact, if I remember rightly, just messing around one day, I'm pretty sure I got up to $1.5 million. Just clicking buy, or sell. You do all sorts of stupid stuff, don't you? And you kind of think, wouldn't that be nice? But it's just stupid gambling, just taking stupid stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy what you do. But you know what? I every time I have new accounts, it tends to worry me less and stress me less. And I do feel like I'm on an upward path now, where because it's such an emotional thing, you tend to jump in and you don't think, and you do stupid stuff, and then you wonder why the hell it happened. Why didn't I think? It's very easy to act without thinking when there's a lot of emotions, and we all do it. And the only way really you stop doing that is to expose yourself again and again to those emotions, and sooner or later they'll start to decrease. It's a fact of life. It's it's common sense. It's just, it's simple biology, isn't it? Human beings, we overcome and adapt, and we change. You're not going to feel the same way every time. It'll take a while, but once those stresses start to go and decrease, and at the same time your skills, are constantly improving, things will tip in favour of you, and then it'll start to work, and you'll start to go, it's actually working, and then you're sort of asking yourself the question, why the hell didn't I do that earlier? But it's because of those emotions. So I'm trying to have a balance here. We're trying to build an account quickish, but without OTT. So I'm trading one of these PA accounts on one contract and one of them on two contracts. So I've not got the whole stress. And when I get the other one tomorrow, I'll trade that on one contract as well. So I'm taking me time, and I've just got one account that hopefully will push up, because that one account should hit should hit the target a bit earlier to get a payout, and then that will make me feel good and give me a little bit more money, to invest in buying some more. And I think I like the way the Alpine guy does it. He'll get an account up to over $2,600, and he'll take a $2,000 payment, and then he'll reduce that contract down. And his thoughts are that account has more than 10x'd itself, and it's paid for itself. So I'll reduce the contract, reduce it down to one contract, and then just let it follow with the rest of them. And if it works, it works. It's free money, isn't it? So we've got a leg down, 2 attempts to go higher. There is a possibility this could go up, but I'll be waiting for a higher low. I ain't getting involved in there because I don't know what this is doing at the moment. But yeah, take the money. I think it's a good idea. It makes you feel good. You actually feel like you're getting paid, and then you've got a bit of money then, and you can invest a bit. I think it's good to earn something, and then put some back in without thinking about just putting your own money in constantly. So we've got a touch. I'm waiting for a higher low. I don't want to get stung. So if we can get a higher low here. So we've had this breakout. We've gone in. We've retested this level. So I think there's a good chance we may get up to the top. Leg and a leg. But I'm waiting for a higher low. I ain't getting involved here, because it is a possibility we could have a leg, a break, and a leg. It's still a little bit choppy, see, so I want confirmation before I jump in and assume that's what we're going to do. What the hell is that? Okay, there's a higher low forming on the NQ. So if we can break below this, I may be interested. I need a break out past 5,000. We'll be open to a long. I mean, we've come back here and we seem to be going out. I'd say that the good chance that's going to get up to the tops. But I need a higher low here. I can't just jump in here. You jump in, you get stung, and we're getting very close to these tops now, so I might be running out of time here. There's no setup anyway. We got a little channel with a break. It's only a first entry, that. So I go, once there's your failure, you wouldn't want to take one up there anyway. So it's just a first entry. So there's nothing there. I just avoid first entries like the plague. They're just absolutely unreliable. I can't see this coming back for a higher low, really. Getting close to the tops now. I mean, we've had a breakout here, so we could well have one above the tops. There's no setup for us, unfortunately. I had a feeling I knew where it was going to go, but it's just not enough to have a feeling. I was hoping we may pull below there. So we're at the tops, so I wouldn't be surprised if we make a new high of the day. There's more that can go in that leg, and we have had an overshoot, and in most cases, or a lot of cases, overshoot will mean we'll get one at the top as well. So if we can get a bit of a pullback, trap some shorts, we may get a higher low here, we'll see. Okay, let's see what happens here. That was my concern about the leg and the leg. Okay, right to the nearest tick. Love it when it does that. So, if we can get a higher low off here, we'll see. Leg. You just don't know. It may just push straight through and come down the bottom. But after this overshoot, this side, I wouldn't be surprised if that continued on higher. So 1, 2, maybe we get a triple test and push up. There is a failure there as well, but at the moment we're still above the EMA. Let's see if we trap that short. There's a lower high there. If we trap that short and push up, then I think there's a good chance we're going to get up towards the top again. It hasn't triggered yet, or has it? Not quite. No, it has. If this holds, finishes strong. 'Okay, possible second entry long. There'll be some shorts there. We'll see. One, two, three. Possible high or low there. It's very tempting, that.
Order submitted. Order submitted.
Oh, it's got me. Channel, 2 legs back, high or low. Let's go for 2 points here. It is a bit sideways, in all fairness. One, two, three. Maybe a triple test there. It's hard to say. It's quite choppy. I've just come down to this where the bottom of the 2 leg is. It is a bit more risky giving it an extra tick or 2, but at the moment it's still okay. We'll see. One, two, three. Maybe a triple test, that. Stop would have held. I have put it there. That is looking positive. Stop did hold, so I will put it back there now. There's probably going to be some stops along there. Trouble is, it's a bit sideways. It is a triple test, so I'd expect that to work, actually. So I'm going to sit and hold this. What have I done there? 1, 2, 3. It stops there, so I'd expect that to push up.
Target filled.
There we go. Okay, it was worth holding on. So it did hold, so that's a good sign. So very tight range, yeah. It's one of those things, isn't it? We've got 1, 2, 3. It is a triple test, so it depends how you look at that. It is a bit choppy, but someone told me once you can trade congestion as long as you know what you're doing, if that makes any sense. So we had 2 legs back. So we got this little channel going up. We got 2 legs back. So there's the first leg. And there's the second leg. So if I remember rightly, they were right to the nearest tick. So let's put that right to the top. Right in line with the top there. And that one's in line with the bottom. So okay, so literally 2 really nice measured legs and then a higher low, and you've got 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3 bounces, and another one for a good measure. So I expected that to go up. It was a slightly more aggressive trade, but also it was a second entry long, a higher low, and a failure. So it's just, we've bounced off here and we've come up, and we bounced here, we bounced here. So for me, we'll look like we're creeping up at least to the top. So it's one of those ones, everybody's slightly different. You know, you've got to sort of make your own judgment and take your own trades based on what you think. But I expected that to push higher than here. I was tempted to bring my stop and my profit right up. So let's just call that a higher low. It's a triple test, higher low, second entry line. It's a bunch of stuff. Let's just call it a higher low, triple test for now. What did I get? 2.25 points. I think so. 825, 925, 1025. Oh, 2.5 points. Okay. So plus 2.5 points. So we had 2 legs up, 2 nice leg back, a higher low. It did hold. Usually if it holds, I think there's enough traders in there, but we came down, we got 1 bounce, 2 bounce and 3 bounces. It's a higher low, second entry long failure. So I think the more things it has in its favour, the better. But it is a slightly more aggressive one. I will agree there. What was the risk? It wasn't a massive risk, so in fact, I did go down here, didn't I? I did put it down here initially, so but it did hold. I just thought that was the swing low from that. So if you look on some of Mac's older videos, he used to do that. Sorry about that. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Post. Yeah, I just like 2 legs down. We had a channel break, new low, higher low. So there you go. Is there something larger? There is a possibility. Let's have something different. So I would suggest, see, based on what I'm seeing there on the daily, we came down there, stopped where I put that line, and then reversed. We came down there, we came below it, pushed up and stopped, crossed over and reversed. So to me, I think we're going to get a reasonable push up. We're going to get some pullbacks along the way, but I'm sort of more expecting upwards. So I would say I would quite likely expect a measured leg. So let's just pop that there. So I think there's a reasonable chance we could get up to this level and back up to all-time highs, which are up here. So let's just pop that in there. All-time highs. All-time highs. Okay. So there is a fair bit. We've had a couple of big legs down, haven't we? Which I kind of thought we would have. We've had a lot of pushing up. So there's probably something bigger. In fact, I actually like that better. So push up, sideways, touch. Let's bring that down a touch. Yeah, see, not only that, we were clearly getting some. See, after that overshoot, I expect at least a decent sized break out the top. We pushed up, we had one pullback, we pushed up again, a couple of attempts to go lower. You can see it's holding a lot around that line there, and then we had a nice big bullish bar for me that was going up. So we got a leg up, two legs back, clearly forming some support along there. Okay, so taken off nice here. So I think there's a good chance there's going to be a bigger channel down there, leg. Couple of legs back, and we seem to be working. Let's get rid of that actually for now. Okay. Lag and a lag. So, touch. So, that to me looks like kind of a nice looking channel. You may argue there's an overshoot. I'm not massively convinced because we've hit there 3 times. So, I think I'm okay with how that is. This does look like a 2-tiered channel. We pushed up, we're working in the top section, couple of legs down, working in the bottom section. So, but I think it's still important just to be aware that there may be possible range. Just going to put that like that just in case. In fact, I'm going to change that to a green candle because I would say that is slightly more aggressive. Took that 3 candles later. 3 candles. That one there. Yeah, you could say that's a triple test. I sort of counted that one, but I think it's more likely that the reason I like that one is because we had 2 perfect measured legs and it was a higher low. And I think the reason that it didn't get triggered out is the fact that it's a setup in its own right. But yeah, sometimes that little bit of patience just gives you that little bit more of a safer trade. So that's why I've changed it to a green candle. In that there, I'd say that probably deserves a blue one, especially the way that's come down. But the way it triggered below there and pushed up there, especially when you've trapped some shorts as well, you know, because we look like we've got a bit of a range. You know, you might think we've hit it once, twice, 3 times, we're coming down. So the fact that it triggered a bearish candle like that and closed above the EMA, it's a safer trade than that. I'd call that maybe a 7 out of 10 trade. In an uptrend, I'd expect that to work maybe 7 out of 10 times. That one, maybe 8.5, something like that. But the real great setups, I am really honestly yet to see one fail. There are times where I've thought, I don't quite know why that goes, but it rarely happens now. There was a trade, and I mentioned it a while ago, it was 4 or 5 months ago. A lot of people got trapped, and Mac explained it, because he must have had a bunch of emails, and there you go. But you know, the more you trade, the more you just know if a trade's gonna work or not. There is a second entry long, but it's just floating in the middle of nowhere at the moment. It may work. We've hit these highs 3 times, so we may come down here, but it's just floating in the air a little bit for me, that. So I'm just sitting tight there. In fact, there may be a little bit of congestion there, just a touch. We got a touch there, a touch there, and a touch there. I mean, it is a second entry long, but I call that a double test, not a triple test, so it could come down and sting you there. There's this vacant area here, and as I believe in this bigger channel, for me that would be risky. It didn't trigger anyway, and the way this is coming down, I wouldn't be shocked if that got stopped, but it never triggered anyway, so I think most of the time you'd only get trapped if it triggered. So we got a leg and a leg. Really, I'd like to see this bounce off here, in all fairness, because this for me is more just, there's a bit of a channel there. We've bounced 3 times. We've made a couple of attempts to go higher, so I'd expect to come down a little bit there. How much, I don't know, but I'd like to see it bounce off this line and then start to work up before I think about going long. Same again, second entry long possibly, but I always wait for the higher low. If I'm sure I've got any doubts, I just wait for the higher low. But as I say, I don't like it when there's this area. We've pushed up sideways, I'd expect it to come down and work along here, or I'd certainly feel more comfortable. It's actually probably not a bad trade, and I would expect it probably to work, but there's something about it I don't like. I don't like this area here, and we seem to be in a channel, and you know, we come down, we go up, we come down, we go up. This to me has just got alarm bells, and straight away the fact that it's triggered, it's coming down, made me realise, you know. So there'd have been times when I'd taken that. There was another trade down here that I decided to leave that didn't feel right, and it would have trapped me. So if that continues on down, there's 2 traps that, you know, 6, 8, 12 months ago, I'd have ended up losing 2 trades in a row. I mean, it is 2 legs down. It is a second entry. But I just don't like this space here. And if you took that, see if it holds. Sometimes they do. It's trying to, isn't it? I had my suspicions. So I'll be surprised if there's not traders taking that, because you're thinking channel, we've had a break, 2 legs down, right to the EMA, nice bearish bar, trigger just stopped you out. And it is frustrating when you get stuck in trades like that. But that's the biggest part of trading, is applying the strategy to the correct context. And it was the context that was lacking there. Why did that not work? That's why I stayed out of it. NQ is not an excuse. See, for me, I think after you've been trading a while, you just sort of get used to something. Now, you could say there's a few reasons here. You could say we've got to touch, maybe a bit of an overshoot. The fact that we hit 3 times there, I would say probably not. We seem to have a bit of a channel coming down there, and it hasn't broken yet, so it could come down some more. That's one of the toughest things about trading, is applying the strategy, and that is a second entry long. It's applying a strategy to the correct context. I mentioned a few times this vacant area here. See, we had a push up, we came back to this area. We had a couple of legs up and 2 legs back to this area. We went a little bit sideways to this area again, so I would feel much more comfortable coming back to this area before I think about going along. So for me, that had risk all over it. But there will have been traders taking that and got stung, and I'd have been one of them maybe 7 or 8 months ago. But I'm wise now to these areas. But it's just something about the look of it that I didn't like, probably because it's too far away from here. But don't feel bad about getting stung in it. That's how you learn. Yeah, bigger trend for me, I'd expect it to come back here. But don't worry, don't get frustrated about learning. You learn, when you lose like that, you're learning valuable lessons. You've just had a really brilliant lesson, and you'll benefit from it. I'll tell you that now. So, we've got a break of the, so don't feel bad about losing. I know it's hard sometimes. And the reason it's hard is because a lot of people will be trading evaluations and peer accounts when they're not really ready. I know, because I've been one of them, and I've spent a lot of money throwing it away on evaluations and peer accounts when I just wasn't ready. But you do get used to these areas. You'll log that picture in your brain now, and when you see something like it again, similar sort of context again, something won't feel right, and that's how you'll get there. But don't feel bad about it. See, same again, I'm not thinking about going along here because we're in a downtrend at the moment. So there is a possibility that, there we go, see. So if we got a trend here, we're probably going to have one here as well. So it'd be interesting to see how it reacts. I mean, I might completely misjudge this. It might not be an uptrend. You just never quite know, which is why I'm always cautious. I got into a trade here. I didn't necessarily expected it to go up. I just wanted it to go up enough to give me points, and I thought there's this area up here. With this overshoot, I expected to break out the top, so all I was looking for was half a decent entry to get up there, which it did. But you just never quite know. If this comes down to here, then I will probably, there's always the possibility of doing something like this then. So it may be a spike and channel. We've got an area here, haven't we? So if market comes down to here and bounces here and goes up, this may be the channel. So you've just got to try and make the best of the situation, just work out what it's doing. And, I have my ideas where I think the market's going, but after this bit of sideways and the breakout and the strong push back in and the retest of this and leg and leg and leg, I expected it to push up. My suspicions were we're going to break out the top because of the overshoot, but all I'm interested in is getting up to these highs where I can get me points. The rest is sort of irrelevant based on me trade, really. But let's have a look. See, it's reacting off here now. See, so maybe that's something. But it is frustrating when they don't. But don't let it bother you. Just consider it as a valuable lesson, and it is a lesson. It's a lesson that's going to make you stink load of money if you keep at this. So don't beat yourself up. Just do what I do at the end of every day and just drink some scotch. It works. I've even punched myself in the face on about 2 or 3 occasions to the stage where my jaw is ached for 2 days just out of pure frustration with myself. I've punched one of my monitors and threw it out of the window. I've done lots of stuff, surprisingly enough. My daughter was in here. I punched myself about 3 times in the jaw. My daughter was going, "Dad, what are you doing, Dad? Don't." You do some stupid stuff out of frustration. That was because I jumped in a trade. I started revenge trading. That's why I did that. But yeah, the revenge trading, I used to get frustrated to hell at myself. But just keep sticking at it. You can't help but get better at it. It's an impossibility not to improve if you do it every day. Of a green rock I rub. See, I can't have rocks near me because I end up tossing them through windows and stuff. Green rock that I rub. You sound a lot more chilled out than I am. But a green rug, a green rock. Yeah, I did thump one of my screens, and I literally pulled it off the stand, and my wife went, "It's not cracked, it's fine." So I hit it about 3 more times until it cracked, and then threw it out the window. And I went out later in the evening, and it was sticking in the ground. It got in one of the corners, and it was sticking out the ground. My wife's friend came round the door, knocked on the door, and was stood in the door looking at my wife and looking at the monitor, thinking, "What's going on?" And I think that's why traders have lots of screens, so they've got something to take it out on. But yeah, I get why people are listening that one. I mean, it's 2 legs down, isn't it? You could say, let's fade it from this, but it's this area here that concerned me. I don't like, to take something which is floating a bit. Second entry could be, there was a break, a new high. It could be a bunch of stuff. But what I find is I just get a feeling now. I can pretty much look at a trade and go, yeah, I like it, or no, I don't. So I don't necessarily have to work it out. I can just sort of look at it. And that to me, it was a bunch of things. It could have been that. It could have been the fact that we've had a channel and a break. It could be a lot of stuff. It is also choppy today, why I mentioned earlier, a lot of times now I don't take second entries, I wait for the higher lows. A lot of times you'll get trapped in second entries. It depends on the context. If it's an absolute beauty within a channel, then I will take it on that. But I would say probably 2 out of 3 second entries, or maybe 3 out of 4 second entries, I wait for a higher low. There's a possibility you're going to get trapped. If you wait for the higher low, chances are you're not. So I always like to give it a chance to trap me and stop me out, before I think about getting into a higher low. And that's what it did there. So, I stayed out of that trade. I stayed out of something else. So you will get better at staying out of, it's okay getting in on good trades, but it's staying out of bad trades as well. And sometimes when you're sort of relatively new, you're itching to get in there, and you're itching to make money, and you're itching to trade trades, and it's just holding back and just wait for that good setup. People think you need 2, 3, 4, 5 trades a day. You don't. You're much better off waiting for those good quality trades. You'll make more money, and your win percentage will go up, and you'll lose a lot less on your journey. Absolutely, H. Those higher lows are a confirmation we are doing what you thought. But just aim for a good quality trade a day. Just sit patiently and let all the you will eventually start to filter the crap and wait for the good ones. But it is frustrating on your way there, because there's nothing worse. And a lot of the frustration is because you're probably trading, money too early, really. I mean, if I could tell myself, go back in time and tell myself, I would say spend a year on a sim and put as much time as you can into it, because it really does take time. We're understanding human behavior. You can't pick it up in a few months and start trading money. I agree at some point you've got to add risk. because you have to, you have to develop, as well as the skills, you have to develop that mental capacity to be able to, put up with the psychological side of it, and that's a whole different ball game. But people, every person, every experienced trader's ever told me that all newish traders or newer traders trade too early because they've done it themselves. And I'll say exactly the same thing. I gave my job up after a month of trading this. That just goes to show. I put £5,000 in. I went to work on a Friday. I stopped at a garage for a coffee. I decided that's it, I'm giving up. So I phoned my boss up, told him to shove his job, bought myself a cup of coffee and drove home. Told my wife I was going to be a trader and make us a ton of money. I put £5,000 in and lost it all in about a month. I felt physically sick. But I did have this little voice in the back of my head saying, it can't be this easy. Yeah, don't. If you've passed it, don't trade. It's pointless. It makes no sense whatsoever. Just go on a sim. Either do another evaluation or go on a sim, but do not trade an evaluation you've passed. Because I tell you something now, chances are you'll end up blowing it. Yeah, don't do that. Just go on to a sim or another evaluation. Okay, so there is a possible second entry short here. I'm not sure what's going on. I'd say it may work. It possibly will work. You may get trapped because if you look on the NQ, we've got a channel, we've got a break and a new low. So although I think it will probably work, I'm staying out of it because I don't like trading here when I don't know what's going on. I mean, you could say we've pushed back in the range, but personally, I'm not a massive fan of it. And I'm happy to let trades like that go. I've got no issues with that at all. It actually worked nicely. But because we've had this, my concern is it may trap you and push higher. I never have a problem with that. So I'm beginning to think now maybe it isn't an uptrend. Maybe it's just a failed breakout. It's hard to say. We change and adapt these things as we sort of move on, but because of what I'm seeing on the daily, I mean, we may just come back in, retest this and push up, but your ideas and your thought process will change and develop as the trade goes on, as the day goes on. So let's just reset, get rid of some of this. Let's just bring that down a bit. So perhaps it's just because that kind of worked quite nice. It just goes to show sometimes these range days can sort of work like they're going into a trend. See, there's always that possibility that there may be something like that. Actually, look at that. I've gone from those tops and look where that's finished. And look at that. Look where it's sitting. See, is that pure luck? Look out. See those bars there? See those bars sitting right on top of that line? Look where that's touched. Look where that's touched. Now let's look up. We've got 1, 2, 3 touches. Now, is that random? What we're doing here, we're struggling to get lower. Is that random? I don't think so. We've had a channel down there, a break, and a new low. So I did draw this about 10 minutes ago before we'd pulled back because it hit those the tops. So there's always a possibility. So I think it's just being aware of what could happen. So yeah, it was clean. I absolutely agree with the setup, but the context for me, we were pushing up at the time, we're starting to work up, which is why I left it. Yeah, and I don't mind doing that. I don't mind missing trades if something doesn't feel right. And because we've gone up, sideways, pull back, up, pull back, we could have come down and trapped you and pushed up, which is why I tend to... and when you've already done a trade and you've already done your day's work, I like to be super, you know, sort of... and not only that, if you look at this, there's a double bottom there. So it's just a bunch of things that just make me think, just be careful here. Look at this. There's some support along there. We're on the midline. There's a double bottom. You just never quite know. So if I've got any doubts or something is a bit confusing, for me, I prefer to just stay out of it. I've never got an issue with leaving a trade behind. It used to piss me off, but it doesn't bother me anymore. So let's just remove that for the time being. So we've got a channel break, 2 pushes down to a new low. So this might be an area where you may consider buying. I tend to avoid tops and bottoms. I'm not that good of them. Not only that, if we are just ranging at the moment, we've had a big breakout there, so I would expect the same out at the bottom. So at the moment, I'm just a bit unclear. Leg. Yeah, I'm sitting tight at the minute. That would actually work as well. That channel. So if you took that one, you'd be looking for some new underwear about now. Because this, another reason I wouldn't take that, is at the moment the NQ is in a bit of a limbo land. It could come down a bit lower, so at the moment I'm just sitting tight. So another reason why I don't pick them. Nothing worse than seeing it trigger and coming back down. And you're seeing there you go, straight away. So I mean, we had a little channel, we had a break, 2 pushes down to a new low. How many times have we touched this line? Nice big bullish bar. Why wouldn't it go up? Which is why I don't pick tops and bottoms, because they're just unreliable. Another reason not to take it is we've had a breakout. If you are thinking this range, and it pretty much is, we had a breakout there and a breakout at the top. We've had a breakout there, chance of having one at the bottom. So there's another reason not to take it. But I get why people do. Nice channel, break, 2 pushes down to a new low, double bottom, nice big bullish bar. You know, there are traders going to be going along there, but I've given up taking them because they're just unreliable. Is the software to copy trade other accounts? No, it's not. Personally, I started off with the Apex one, had problems after problems with it, and moved over to Replicanto, and I have never had a problem with Replicanto. The thing I like about Replicanto is you get regular updates. We had 3 in 1 week once. But if you want Replicanto, I got a discount code for 20% off. I think it's $200, I think. You'll have to check. But that will give you $20 off it. It's called. So if you look for Flowbots, Replicanto, my code's UKFT, capital letters, if you want to use it. But, you know, it's up to you. But ask other people what they think. But personally, I feel so much safer There's my Replicanto there. I feel so much safer with Replicanto. It's better in my opinion. They're a software company. They specialise in it. Whereas Apex, really, they're more of a prop firm that have something. They did update it a while ago, maybe a couple of months ago, but I still heard people saying, oh, this is just no better, and, but, it's up to you. But there again, in all fairness, I have heard people saying they've never really had much problems with it, so it's a bit hit and miss, but what I will stand by, if you see these codes down here, I only put codes down there on stuff I use. You can be an affiliate for Bullanox and all that, but I only have vouchers on there or codes on there that I use. So I've got Apex, I use Apex. I've just shown you I use Replicanto. And another one I use as well down here is TraderSync. And this is my TraderSync account. TraderSync. So I only put discounts down here that things I use and I like. I'm not, some people will have a Bullanox one, they'll have a Top Step one and all that. I don't believe in doing that. I only put down things that I use and I stand behind. Right, okay, so we had a fair size break out of that, and we've equally got one there. So, see after this, and maybe a touch there, there'd have probably been a few stops around there. Thinking we're going up for another leg, which is why we probably had a little bit of a burst. So yeah, Replicanto, but yeah, my code down there will give you 20% off it. I think it's $200. In fact, it went up recently. But yeah, I use it. So as far as I'm concerned, I'll vouch for it. So, it's a bit of an odd day again, isn't it? So, looking back at that daily, you can see we push right below that trend channel. And then reversed, and then we crossed over overnight and then pushed up. We're having a bit of a pullback now, so whether this is a substantial one or whether it may be even going lower, who knows. One and a half points, that one there. Yeah. At the time, I was thinking this is possibly up. So there was a bunch of reasons. I have a little sign next to my computer saying taking a trade, look left. And I could see there was a lot of support there. We got the midline there. So sometimes when we've hit an area and bounced off it, but you can clearly see there we've got a double bottom, a tick away from that midline, and we've bounced a bunch of times there. So, I like the setup. But the context for me was just, I tend to get a voice now, and sometimes it go on to work. And sometimes when I look back on hindsight, I'll admit it was an okay trade. But, with hindsight, a lot of the time, really, it is a lot easier. you know, it's easy to come back to the chart. If I look at this chart, I can say, okay, triple test there, second entry short there, failure there. But at the time, you never quite know because, you know, we haven't got the luxury of being able to see the channel after it's printed for a whole day. You know, at the time, I thought there was a good possibility. You know, there was a channel up. We'd had that sort of leg and a bunch of sideways, and it was kind of fitting nice. You know, so as it started to push, you're thinking, yeah, a bit of a pullback, and up we go again, which is why I never took that one. And then we came back here. This was an area I was thinking. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? But your chart, you know, is constantly adapted and changing. You know, yeah, it could have done, yeah. But that's what I mean. We're all slightly different. We've all got slightly different forms of, you know, risk. It depends how you look at risk. You know, I hear some people, I remember I used to listen to that, the gorilla guy saying, you know, what do you mean it's risky? That's what trade is. Trading is. It's risk. It's accepting risk. You got to, you know. So we've all got different interpretations of it. You know, so what might be right for me might not be right for you. So you've got to do your own individual thing, really. Some people go for more points. So, you know, I know some traders who still stick to a point. For the life of me, I don't know why. I can't remember the last trade I ever saw which only went for 1 point. Just it very rarely happens. So for me, I can't see sometimes when you're risking 3.5 points to make a point. It's completely counterproductive to me. Now, having said that, if you're like Mac, where you're very experienced and you've got the luxury of being able to trade 20 contracts where you can put 5 contracts on a runner, I don't see an issue with that. But as I say, you know, everyone's individual. Mac's been doing it that way for years. He makes a ton of money. Why change, you know? Why fix what isn't broken? So we've got this overshoot here. Fits nice, overshoot. So as we know, in an overshoot, it can result in a correction or a full-out reversal, or sometimes it'll just maybe pop out this side a bit and continue on down. But a lot of the times we'll come down and make an attempt to make a new low and then sort of jump in the other direction. So I'm not thinking about going short here after that. But it is a little bit, it's a bit unclear. Sometimes they just work to measured moves perfectly. They're really predictable, and other times they're quite confusing. But just keep it in mind, all you need is one good trade a day. That's it. You know, even if you're trading one contract, one good setup a day, that's $2,000 a month. Even if you only do half of that, and you've got 10 accounts, that's $10,000 a month. You can have 20 accounts. You can have accounts in Bullanox. You can have accounts in Top Step and all the others as well, and run them at the same time. So there is a failure there after this overshoot. I think there's a chance of pushing up. But I like to give it a chance to come down and maybe retest first, so I don't tend to jump in too quick. That can cause you problems as well. So what we're doing here, so break out the top, and we pull back in, break out the bottom, so I think there's a chance we're going to pull back in. So that's fitting nice there. So for me, that's an overshoot. There was a failure there, which worked. I'd rather have a couple of legs back and then maybe look for something going up. I also want to keep an eye on this, so that we don't struggle to get back in, because there is a possibility that there may be something bigger there. It's always possible. Okay, so Now that might not be a bad trap there. So first entry, second, it is multiple entries. So I'm just sitting tight at the minute. As I say, sometimes when you go overshoot, it will come down and make an attempt before it pushes up. So it could still come down. It may stop out that one. It could stop out that one. You got a leg and a leg. So there is two legs. There is two legs there, but the way that's pushing down, it's not worth it. So we got one little leg, a break, and a push up and a new high. So we got a leg and a leg. But I'm just not sure at the moment, so I'm just sitting tight. Leg break, new high. Just staying out of this. It could trigger that and stop it out. It may come down. It may continue to push up. But I'm uncertain as to what's going to go on here, so you're always best off staying out. That one's triggered. Let's see what happens. That bearish bar's triggered on the NQ, so that could push up, stop that out, or it could come down. Depends how people look at it. But for me, there's an overshoot, and I'm just sitting tight. See, it is possible that you may fit that in there, so it actually may come down. It might not be an overshoot, because it touches and touches there. So but there's clearly a bit of confusion here. There's a bit of congestion, so there's a bit of uncertainty. Is it an overshoot? Is it part of it? So I think you're just best off sitting out of it. Now let's see if it triggers this bullish bar and comes down. Okay, that's pushing. So if you took that, you got stopped out. So I think that's a good reason not to. I think that's probably an indicator that it may not come down. Excuse me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, there is a little bit of sideways here, so. could just be a bit of a bull flag, and then another push up. Small short and trend break, new low, 1, 2, 3. There could be a treble test and it could come down. It's hard to say at the moment, really, but it could come down. Oh, interesting. Quite a strong push down. So if you took a trade there, you're out. Let's see what happens now. So maybe this is, maybe it does fit. It's possible. Small channel break, new high. See if we get a lower high. Let's have a look here. The trouble is, if you go short here, it may push back up into this range. I don't think it's going to. It's looking pretty bearish at the moment. It's just nothing you can really take here. There's no setup there at all. We just push up and we drop down. We're nearly at the bottom now anyway, so it's too late. I thought if we can get a lower high there, maybe an option there, but it's a bit late now. So there's a little bit of support here, which we're getting close to, which was the open. Yeah, to me that looks like it's bouncing on this area here. There's clearly a bit of support there. Am I confident this is going to come down some more? Not really. So depending on how you look at this, maybe a bit of an overshoot, come down, retest, and then a push up, or it could be the fact that it's just a break, come down, we made a new low by a tick. So God only knows what we're going to do. See, after this sideways, we've had a drop out the push at the top, but drop out the bottom, so we could go back into here. Or really, this just might be the bottom of a range. Kind of works. So we've hit that bottom, we've hit it again, so So channel break, maybe a high low, maybe we're going up. The trouble with trading, there's a lot of maybes. Excuse me. Or it could be a leg down, one attempt to go higher. Second attempt to go higher, failure, could come down a lot more. Could be just a bit of a correction, one leg. So I think really I'd be looking for a failure above the EMA, maybe a higher low, because we've come down in and we've hit a level and we've bounced 1, 2, 3 times. Excuse me. Just want to be careful you don't get stuck in a short there. There is a higher low there. I'm just a bit unsure. You don't know when it's going to come up. Second entry short. Is it struggling to get above there? It might be, in which case it may come down. That hasn't triggered, luckily, so it's hard to say at the minute. I'd rather wait for a failure. I'd rather wait for it to trap some shorts and push up, because at the moment it's just a little bit hit and miss. So I don't really want to go long there. It's a 15 tick bar, tick above, tick below. It's 17 ticks. It's like 4 points. Just over 4 points. Too rich for my blood. Need to get above this, really, in all honesty.
Order submitted.
You could sort of put it on a limit order, really, but trouble is leg down. One attempt to go higher, second attempt to go. It could still come down.
Order cancelled.
I'm not a massive fan of that at the moment. It's not the worst setup in the world, but it's, we've had a break, maybe a high-low. It's a big risk, so it's just not worth it at the moment, personally. I mean, it's worked, but it's just too much of a risk, that is. So if you go one tick below it, one tick above it, it's a 4.25 point risk. I don't want that. It's a little bit, this is a bit, you just don't know, do you? So, rather wait for a bit of a pullback. Come back and retest this before we push higher, maybe. Maybe get in then. Just too much of a risk, that. That would put me in the red. It's not worth it. Would I have taken it on an eval? Absolutely. I'm happy to take a bit of risk there because it's costing me about $30, $40 or whatever it is. But yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's not the worst. It's not the best set in the world, but it's not the worst. We got a channel up. 2 attempts to go lower, bullish bar, but it's for me, with 2 contracts, you're risking $425. Well, over $430 with fees. It's just too much risk. It's just too much. It's a bigger bar. I mean, that might be an indicator that it's going up, but you just don't know, do you? You just don't know where you've got this leg down on the ES. We've made 1, 2. You don't know whether we're going to come up, break above here, come back and create a triple test, 2 legs up, and then down some more. So there's always that possibility. If it was a smaller bar, I would prefer it a little bit higher as well, not on the same plane as those. It's another thing I didn't like about it. It's just sitting there, see, so, leg down, 1 attempt to go high, 2nd attempt, you don't know when it's going to trigger and come down, so, for me, maybe a 7 out of 10, something like, I don't know, but if it was a smaller risk, then, if you're risking a 1.5, you may have a go at it, because, if it works 7 times out of 10, it's still worth taking, but I'm not risking over $400 on it. On one of my accounts and $200 on the one. I'm risking $600, $650 on one trade. That's just too much. So, are we having a bit of this or what? Okay, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break, make a cup of tea, and I'll be back. I'm just going to pop that over here. I need some refreshments. So everything's down. There's nothing open. Okay, quick 5-minute break, cup of tea, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. Okay, so what is going on here? High, low, up to the highs. Can't take that, just too far. Might come back. Now, have we got any type of a channel there? Possibly, so you want to be going along there. Not that it won't work, but let me see if there's a bigger channel, bigger range here, maybe. Okay, clearly says it's bouncing a little bit there and there, so well said, mate. Well said. Well said. Yeah, it's just it's ongoing at the moment. Really, it's not really clear. I think we can probably agree. We seem to be ranging at the moment. So it could be a bigger channel here. We've had a break, new high, leg down, 2 attempts higher, leg down. It could do. The leg down, 2 attempts higher. There's always that possibility. If you pull this down, it actually touches perfectly there, perfectly there, perfectly then perfectly there. So push up, sideways, push up. It's like 2 legs. And we got a break. 1, 2, 3, 3 or 4 pushes up to a new high. I mean, you won't see Mac doing that. I don't quite know why, because if you look at it, I mean, why wouldn't it work in it over 2 days? You know what I mean? We pay attention to what happens in this channel over the last 10 days, so why wouldn't we over the last couple of days? So I think it's worth looking at these sometimes, just to get a bit of a picture where things are at the moment. But we could have a leg up, break new high, 2 legs of correction, and another leg up, which may get us close to these highs. It's just one of those things, you don't know what it's going to do on the way, because, you know, the daily, I think it's more likely to go up than down, because if you look at the chart, what have we done? We've come down the bottom and it's rejected straight away and closed here in this channel. And we've shot across, we've pulled up. Yeah, we got a bit of a pullback, but, you know, you would think it would more likely go up. We're in an uptrend, you know, we're back to the key entry point. You think the more, you know, the chances are we're going to go up. So it would make sense. So if you look at this, maybe a break new high, maybe a correction, and then we may end up going up. So, you know, in the meantime, this daily bar can go up and down, can't it? As we're sort of working and out the, you know, the range for the day. But I think long term, when I say long term, I mean today or tomorrow, I can see us ending up close to this measured move. Certainly having a push up back into the all-time highs again. So, you know, this is looking kind of bullish, but at the moment, if this is a channel, we're right at the top of it. So the last thing I want to do is go long. I mean, we've got a touch, and close of a touch. It's not the best channel in the world, but we've got a touch and a touch. It's kind of working, isn't it? So, I mean, I would be saying here, the last thing I want to be doing is going long. I don't want to go short either, because it's a little bit of congestion there, which you can see. So, I mean, it could come back and nick this and then push up, or it could come right back to the side, but we're just too far from the EMA. And same here as well. We've got all these stems pointing upwards. That to me looks like it's just sucking in longs, and then it before possibly pushes up again. So, you know, the picture's unclear at the moment. Let's see if that triggers. It has triggered. So big stems here. That to me looks like they're sucking in longs, and I see this all the time. You'll be having nice big bearish bars, and you'll get a few of them, and all of a sudden you'll think, oh, sorry, I'll get in, and it triggers you, comes straight down and stop you out. Whether it happens on the second or third bar, but quite happens, it pushes up. You know, it's giving you an indication we're going long, and then finally then you jump in and down it comes. I see it all the time. I bet you got a few bullish bars here. Yeah, you've got a nice bullish bar there. We're relatively bullish with, but there's a big stem there. Stem. It is all pointing that we're going up. And then you'll decide after about 3 bars, okay, let's jump in now. And it triggers you, like that's done there. And then comes and stops you out. Whether it will or not, I don't know, but I tend to stay away from these now. You can say it is a high or low or a failure or whatever you want to call it. You see, you don't need a lot of trades a day. If I could do this every day, one of these a day, I'd make a fortune. Okay, another one of those is triggered. See, this does look like a bit of a bull flag, but in all honesty, if we're looking at this channel, it's holding there, so I think that trade there would not be a good idea to go long personally, so I would expect this now to come down. And this as well. Okay, so if you got in there, your stop's just been hit. I'd expect that stop to go as well. It's too much of a weak position to not get taken out. One, it's too far from the me. One, the body's a million miles from the EMA. Look at that. It's just triggered out. Just literally dropped below. So if you, that's what I mean. You get when you're getting stems like this and they're far away, it just sucks lungs in, and all of a sudden you think, yeah, I'll go in. As this starts to push up, you think, oh yeah, I'll buy, and all of a sudden, 10 seconds later, boom, it all drops down and takes out any of these trades here. That's why you're always waiting to take these types of trade when they're sat right on top of that EMA. I see this all the time. I used to get stuck in these thinking, oh, look, it's going up without me, and you jump in and it just pushes out a little bit more and you jump in and all of a sudden down it comes. It's so infuriating. But I'm wise to it now. I don't let it get to me now. Now look at that, see. If you saw this going up, you're thinking, here we go, yeah, look, we're moving up now, yeah, let's jump in here. And it comes out and takes all the stops out. So if you're in there, that's got taken out. So if you took the ILO there, I mean, you're probably going to go out, but a lot of people, a lot of traders will be trading off the bottom here and trying to get out, you know, at the top. But it is amazing how this thing comes down. It's like a lot of times you'll see me now giving an extra tick, and sometimes it'll, you know, you'll hear Mackle say that it'll come back and get you stopped by one tick. It does amaze me. I hear him say that so many times, and I'm thinking, well, why don't you come out one tick under break even and see if that one tick helps you out, you know? But it is frustrating as it comes down. If you got in there, seeing that push, or you got in there or whatever, look at that. It comes down. It came down one tick below there. So if your stop was it always amazes me, if the market hits your profit, it won't automatically give you your profit. It's got to push through. If the market hits your stop, takes you out straight away. It always wonders. I always wonder that. You do seem like somebody's making a bit of money here. Second it hits your stop, you've lost the trade, but it's got to push through. So technically, you've got to make an extra tick. Where's that tick going? That's what I want to know. Okay, so yeah, it's clearly a bit of a funny old day today. Like, where did you get your points today? That one there, mate. Slightly more aggressive trade. We had two legs back, perfect measured leg, and I took the higher low. It did come back and nearly took me out, but I think that says something about how many traders are in there. You know, the more traders you've got there, the more resistance there is. And I saw 1, 2, it was like 3 touches, triple test. That would have been the slightly better one, I think. But because we had perfect measured leg in the higher low, I took that. I expected it to push up. Unfortunately, it came back, but I was okay in the end. But it's definitely a more aggressive trade. No arguing there. So what do we do now? So it is ironic, isn't it? You take that one, you think, yeah, let's push her up to the top. It comes down, takes you out for one tick. In fact, I'm not even convinced that is a channel now. That looks more like it to me. I'd say it's more ranging to me. That probably looks. We got a touch here, touched a few times here, a few touches there, touch, touch, touch. So I think there's a bit of ranging. What time is it? I'm going to finish soon. Valentine's Day. My wife will be home soon. I think we're having a bit of dinner tonight and some cars and flowers. You know, it's not simple anymore, is it? You can't just buy your wife flowers. You've got to buy your flipping dog a card, your daughter a card. I can't believe there's Valentine's cards for dogs. It's flipping crazy. It's all money, isn't it? Valentine's cards for dogs. What crap do we spend our money on, eh? That's the spread of work. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's annoying, though, isn't it? It's annoying. I mean, sometimes it doesn't need to push through. Obviously, you know, there's an order of, you know, where your stops or where your profits went into the market. And I believe, obviously, it works in order now. That, you know, they can fire through tens of thousands that quickly. But I've got to say, it was a couple of months ago, I was waiting to get a payout for this account, and I needed 6 ticks to hit over the $2,600, and it bounced off my 6 tick about 3 or 4 times, and it came back, and I ended up losing the trade, and I got a bit frustrated and came in later and lost a bit more, and you know the story. But it just literally bounced off it. It must have been 3, 4 or 5 times it bounced. It's bloody annoying. So I think the trick is not to think about trading to make money. Because once you start getting to that $2,600 area, you start to feel that pressure, and that's when you can make mistakes. So leg up, leg down, leg down. So where are we coming down to the bottoms or here? We've come off the bottom, so I'm not thinking about going short just yet. Now, looking on the NQ, we've had this channel. It is sort of, we push through the EMA. It is looking like it may come down and retest this, or even possibly push a bit lower. There's probably going to be a few longs trapped there, but I just don't like that bar. It's a bit of an inside bar anyway. So, and we've come off the bottom here. We haven't really here. So I'm just sitting tight. It does look like the type of sort of pullback that would come down, but I don't like the fact that we've come off this bottom already. So you may go short here. It might trap you and push up. I'm always cautious when we've already hit the lows or hit a level. This looks to me like it's going to push above that EMA. Yeah, another good reason not to think about a short here. Nothing triggered, luckily, anyway. Yeah, I expected that. Yeah, it's a funny old day today, actually. It's a bit hard to trade. I think the only one where, yeah, it's a shame about that, really. Channel up, 2 legs back. You know, it would given the right signals, a little bit sideways, maybe slightly fade the bottom. You know, I get why traders. There were probably quite a few traded that because at the time we got this leg, and then it's definitely looking like we're sort of working up again. So, you know, I get why people are taking that, but for me, I'm always cautious when we start to come down, especially when we got an area like this here. Yeah, great place, but yeah. So if you're getting stuck in those and you're getting trapped in them, best thing to do is just wait for a higher low. Yeah, there's a case, you know, you may miss it, but much better to not take a trade than to take a loss, because if you take a loss, you've then got to do 1.5 trades, really, 1.5 lots of profit just to get back to where you were, and it's frustrating. So I would say, unless it's absolutely obvious, you know, in a channel like that, second entry short, yeah, there, that's not too bad there. But when it does something like that, especially when we're at these tops and you've got a vacant area, I mean, that came right back to this. So, you know, I never took it because of the bottoms, but, you know, I'm talking about that type of second entry where it's sitting just right. But especially on a break, when we break out of a channel, sometimes we'll have 2 legs back. It'll trigger you, stop you out, and then eventually work its way up. So I'd say if you keep getting trapped in these second entry longs, wait for the higher lows, and then you'll get a lot better win rates, and you'll get frustrated less, and you'll start to move forward. So there you go. I'm going to knock out on the edge for the day. I've got my 1 trade. And the full 2.5 points, which I like as well. So I'm pleased with that. So it is Valentine's Day. So I've got to say, I think the Royal Mail has been struggling with all my Valentine's cards this year. I did advise them to start early, but so haven't had one yet. In all honesty. I think we'll do it when my wife gets home soon. So there you go. So if you're carrying on trading, best of luck. If you got caught there, bad luck. But I know there was 1 or 2 there, but I won't worry about it. Just you learn from it. You really do. But it is frustrating at the time. But yeah, just take it on board, and you'll get better and better. You can't help but get better. So, you know, when things do go wrong, try not to beat yourself up. I mean, literally, I've certainly have done in the past, but there you go. So that's me done for the day. I hope I haven't bored you too much. Don't forget, this new offer is on. I think it's on for a week anyway. 71% off, and only 1 day needed to pass at the moment. So if you know, like me, I'd already passed that one. I had 3 more days, so I just did 1 micro, which shows me a trade today, and that one will go live tomorrow. So there you go. So if you carry on trading, best of luck. Failing that, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Enjoy Valentine's Day, Stay safe and we'll chat again same time tomorrow. Bye for now.